What's up, everybody? It's Why We Love Horror, and I'm on the
We're
wrong
sorry,
side. Oh my god, what am I doing over here? I'm supposed to be over here.
That was Oddity.
I'm John Maher. That's Abby Brooks. That's Aaron Brooks. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hi.
It's good to be here. That was an odd intro, but please stick with us if this is your first time here because we are excited to talk about our movie today.
Yeah, this is a movie. I guess we'd heard about it. It definitely was making the miniature festival circuit. A lot of festivals that hit, people were like going nuts over it, saying it was better than movies that were anticipated. I think at Overlook Film Festival, a lot of people I know said this was the best movie at Overlook, and all the other movies played there. I think Long Legs played there, and Cuckoo played there, and Into Violent Nature played there. But they said this movie was the best. You don't know what we're talking about. I think I only saw the trailer twice in theaters, so maybe you didn't see it at all. It's Oddity.
Could you open the door? You're in trouble. I saw you come out of the house just now. You went to the car to get something. You left this door open behind you. Somebody went inside.
And that's Oddity. And right from the top, I'll say this, and this I'm admitting this to everyone watching this video. I don't scare easily at all. Like, it takes real life tragedy to scare me. And like, I was actually like a little bit scared watching this movie because the tension building in this movie is I haven't seen a movie like this do this in a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was one of the first things that kind of stood out for me, like throughout this movie, is that there's just there are a lot of moments. Like, the thing that gets me as a horror viewer scared more often is kind of the anticipation of the dread or anticipation of the release of that kind of tension. And this movie does a really good job with that in terms of, it's basically in one location for the whole movie, but really makes effective use of it. Along the movie, as the Wooden Man is discovered and kind of comes to life, which really isn't a spoiler, but you're just finding yourself wanting to kind of look around characters, seeing what's going behind them. And then the dreaded jump scare word, which is, often kind of we're scared of when it's with certain production companies, especially. Luckily, this isn't made by that production company. They're used really well here because there's uses of kind of silence and like when the noise is not used as cheaply, I feel like. So I really do like this director as well, now seeing both of his movies, and I feel like he improved a lot with the narrative going from Caveat to this. So it was definitely a sophomore improvement.
Abby?
Yeah, so I do agree with all of that. Like, this probably is the scariest movie that's come out this year, in my opinion, so far. Yeah, I had heard that the director of Caveat was doing another movie and it was circulating around the festivals and people were really liking it. I didn't like Caveat that much. What I did like about it was the setting and the tension and just like creepy, eerie feeling. And that does go over to this movie as well. But like Aaron said, it's just improved 1,000 times from that movie. I think it was actually filmed in the same location too. I read an interview with the director. So it's in the same location. It has this like creepy, eerie feeling. But again, this scariness of it, there's just a lot more and a better narrative that just helps it along the way. And I think this is a much better movie than Caveat and much scarier.
Yeah, I'll say this about, because Aaron mentioned the jump scares and we know they're overused. But I think the difference between this movie and most generic mainstream movies is that when the jump scare's coming. Like, one of the characters is just walking slowly down the hallway and something's just gonna fucking jump out. In this movie, like, Damien McCarthy earns all the jump scares because they are actual jump scares. Like, literally, you are not expecting to be scared. It's like a benign whatever's going on. And then just out of nowhere, shit happens. So trust me, I said that. You will never know. Like, if you have not seen this movie, you do not know when they are coming. And that is what's fucked up about this movie.
Well, yeah, definitely. And even like, not even just the jump scares, there's all these like lingering shots that he does too. For example, one of the shots, and like, I wasn't expecting this movie to be scary at all, but like, as we're watching it, I kept like putting my hands up. I'm like, I don't want to be watching this. I'm like really nervous. Like something's going to happen. The one scene in particular that I thought was really, really good was, there's a girlfriend, and I guess we'll talk about the plot at some point, but there's a girlfriend of the husband and the wife who died. The girlfriend is in the house, and then the wooden man is there, and she just like keeps walking up to the wooden man at the table, and she's like poking around. You kind of see it in the trailer, and that particular scene, I was like, why is she poking around at this wooden man? This is really scary. She should not be doing that. And there's just really good jump scares with the wooden guy throughout.
Yeah, the wooden guy is MVP of the movie. The prop is the MVP. Yeah, and then I think another thing you guys mentioned, just the house. It's a weird house. Like that's a weird house. It's like it's just like the outer. It's like a hollow square. The house, a 2-story hollow square, and the inside of the house is built like a 2-story hollow square. So that's cool. But yeah, I guess we did gloss over the plot. Aaron, you want to go? Me or what?
Oh, please, you go.
Oddity is about. In the beginning, there's twin sisters. One is blind and an occultist. The other is, and by occultist, I don't mean like she's in a cult. I mean like she's a collector and expert of occult rarities. And her sister's just a lady, and she's married to a psychiatrist. And then one night, she's murdered in her house. There's like a mystery. We don't know what happened. But since the sister is able to tell the history of things by touching objects that belong to people, a man who may or may not be the murderer had a glass eye, and through her touching this man's glass eye, the truth is revealed.
Yeah, very standard. Yeah, that's basically it. And like it's very much made to look like, the man with one eye has committed, the atrocities, but like we got to find out. I don't know. The mystery part of this, I'm not sure if the mystery was supposed to be that mysterious or not, or I don't know how you.
I get to Christie, it is not, but it is. There is a mystery element.
Yeah,
there's lots of twisty turnies at the end, definitely.
Yeah, and that's kind of just with this director. I feel like his thing through 2 movies is that he did a much better job with making up his mind. I feel with Caveat, he kind of had trouble with how much of it was going to be ambiguous and then how much of it he was going to explain, and just was kind of a mixture and it got muddled. While here it was a little more clear, I guess, is what I wanted to say with regards to how he decided not to conceal the mystery. I think was a good decision because it's not really what the movie was truly about. But Carolyn Becker, is that who plays Darcy? She really is.
Carolyn Bracken.
It took me a really long time in the movie to realize that twins were played by the same actress, and I don't mean
so different. Yeah,
I don't mean that in a bad way either. Which like usually you'd be like, oh wow, that's like bad. They were such different characters, so that was one of my kind of highlights with regards to the twins there. I just wanted to mention.
I was also going to say, in regards to the whole mystery aspect of it, like the way he tells the story too, I personally really liked, and I thought it was really creative. It's almost like a non-linear thing he does. It starts with the first wife and with the guy that you see in the trailer with the glass eye, but then you go forward in time and then kind of back in time as things are being revealed. Mainly when she touches the glass eye, and then he starts to decide what he wants to reveal and how much he wants to reveal. And I liked how that was told because, again, it was very twisty turny. It's like, oh, like what are we going to learn now? Or like, what are we going to see now? I thought that was really cool too. It was a different way of telling it.
Yeah, and I think there's also like a small kind of like subplot of the husband is a skeptic. And the sister is not a skeptic. So like anytime the husband, I believe his name is Tim or Ted
Ted.
is faced with any like supernatural kind of ongoing. He's dismissive, and I think even at the end of the movie, he is still not a believer. And without getting to that part yet, like he could very well be in mortal danger at the end of the movie, and he still doesn't believe anything that's going on.
Yeah, it's a theme. It's like kind of, now I'm thinking about a theme with like quite a few horror movies, probably before this year, but particularly this year, like Late Night with the Devil. You have a few others where it's just like that battle of the ultra belief versus the ultra disbelief, and then the horror of like the inability to kind of figure out what's really going on because it's neither necessary. So I don't know what
even The Exorcism was about that. Your favorite.
Yeah, The Exorcism. Last time at the theaters this year.
Abby, any other scenes you want to talk about?
I'm trying to think. I was gonna say, we'll get to the final scene. I mean, I really like the final scene, but we'll get to that later.
I think there's a lot of like really clever like plot devices they use. Like I've seen, and they're all things I've seen before in other movies. But I think Damian McCarthy actually puts the pieces together better than any other thing. Like I've seen like the time lapse photography gimmick happen in movies. He does it way better in this movie. Like the haunted footage stuff done in hundreds of movies at this point. He does it really well. Even like the fact that like when in the beginning of the movie, like Ted and Danny have just moved into that house, so it's an unfurnished donut house, and she's just like in a tent in like the foyer. Incredibly well, like everything around the tent is incredibly well done as well. Like just like the suspense and all that stuff. Like so, a lot of great set pieces, a lot of great prop use in this movie, and the Wooden Man. Like I can't stress enough. Love the Wooden Man.
He belongs in the Creep Show, the next Creep Show.
Abby, you know what the Wooden Man reminds me of? I don't think it was. I think it's just a coincidence. I don't think it's derivative. It's the clowns from Hell House.
I kind of thought about that.
Doesn't move. Now he's trucking.
Yes. No, I definitely agree with that. Because I mean, honestly, they're both very scary. I think the Wooden Man has maybe a better jump scare. The best jump scare I think in the movie, I think it's again with the girlfriend, where again you're not expecting it, but I think she was on the top of the stairs or something like that, and then all of a sudden this stupid Wooden Man is like looking up at her with its stupid mouth open. Scared the crap out of me. I hated it, but I also loved it. Like it was great.
Yeah, there's just a lot of really clever, like as the movie picks up speed and like it's the husband versus everybody pretty much. An incredibly clever antagonist, I guess, like main antagonist, because the way he goes, he basically gets away with it. Basically.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. What would you guys think about that?
I like the whole aspect with the husband because it is kind of like it is a little bit of a revenge movie, and I do really like revenge movies. I would like to think that he does get his comeuppance in the end. Like I think the Bell demon gets him, or Bell Ghost gets him.
Yeah, this was what I didn't like the ending. I didn't, and I'm trying not to let it completely sour the rest of the movie, but I just like, I get what he was going for with that end, and if he gets his comeuppance, that's one of my problems with this movie is it withholds a little bit too much of seeing the comeuppance, whether it's with someone you want to see it with or not. With the tent in the beginning, it happens off screen, which I was okay with that one. But at the end, I feel like the ambiguity was saying he got away with it. Like otherwise,
that's what I feel too, because I think the only thing protecting him is the fact that he does not believe anything.
Yeah, and that just it's fine. I get what he's doing. It's just
See, I thought it was a choice to withhold another jump scare at that, and maybe I'm thinking to like service level on it, because she explains like when she was talking about the bell, that the Bell Ghost or whatever is supposed to come like running at you. So you're like, there's this whole suspense where she sends him the bell and then he rings it, and then you're just waiting. And like, I was waiting for some type of scary ghost to just come running out right at him, but then he's just standing in the background. But with him just showing up in general, I thought that still means that he's going to get him because he's there. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of like. I think I probably will have to rewatch this, and I have a feeling it'll probably go up on rewatch for me. Not that I hated this movie. I think it's good. This has top 10 potential all the way. I totally get why people love it. I just think it's an incredibly well crafted story. There's twists, but there aren't so many twists. You're like, what the fuck? Anything else we didn't touch on before we get into rating the movie?
I'll say a couple things. This is definitely the best Irish folk horror of the year. I know it's very different than the other one we reviewed on this channel, but yeah, very superior to that. Did we review the Watchers?
The other one?
The Watchers? Wasn't that like?
Oh, yeah, that's technically Irish. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Way better than the Watchers. Yeah, you guys didn't review it. Dylan and I reviewed it.
Oh, my bad. We watched.
We
did
guys. Watch it. This is 1,000 times better than the Watchers.
And
I don't even count the Watchers as an Irish movie. That's like how unhappy I was about the Watchers.
Yeah. But to go back to, and the other thing is that the director specifically did mention Creepshow and Child's Play as huge inspirations for how he wanted to approach the wooden doll in this. And I think the wooden man belongs in that pantheon. So that's like high praise from me for sure, because I love those two movies. So, and I could, like, honestly, if there would have been a Creepshow like 4 or whatever, I feel like this would have fit right into it, and you could have just shaved it down just a tiny bit and had it end in that way. And it is a great feature. It could be like an all-timer anthology piece, even though it's a great feature.
Yeah, given Creepshow 3 and then the Creepshow television show, Oddity's too good at this point.
Yes, I agree. No, if he made a good Creepshow, no, you're right. I didn't watch the show, but I did watch Creepshow 3. That's terrible.
The show is better than Creepshow 3, but the show is not as good as Creepshow 1 or 2. I'll put it that way. Yeah, so let's take spoilers down and let's get into talking about this movie. I'll go first. I like this movie a lot, and I think a lot of the negatives that we talked about did kind of weigh on me a little bit. The ending being like kind of ambiguous, I didn't like. I kind of feel what Abby was saying. Like I wouldn't have minded. Like even like the unfriended ending, like where the guy runs at the camera and it just cuts, would have been great. So I may need to rewatch it to appreciate it. And my nitpicks are not huge nitpicks. It's still a 4 out of 5 for me. I think it's great. It deserves all the praise. Like I said, scariest movie of the year for sure. Maybe not the best crafted movie, but very well crafted. Scariest for sure. Abby.
I really love this movie. This was a very pleasant surprise again, because I wasn't really expecting that much from this movie. I was expecting it to be super, super slow and boring. And not that good, but it was very good and it was very scary. Like any movie where I have to like cover my face while watching it, like, is great. So I give it a 4.5.
All right. And
yeah. I mean, I was also kind of forgiving of the things that bothered me in a lesser movie. I think would have held it back, but I do think kind of the execution, all of the characters are very, well done, but I think especially the twins played by Carolyn Brackens is like a very like star-making performance, and I feel like McCarty is getting better and better. 4.27, so I rounded it up to a 4.5, like right in the middle of 4 and 4.5, honestly. And I'm going to be kind to this movie, just because like this is just kind of what I love about horror. Is a movie that we saw a trailer for, it didn't look that great, looked kind of similar to other movies, and then it's its own little thing, and I'm excited to kind of rewatch it, and I'm glad people went in. I like Caveat when I watched it. I didn't like it as much as Oddity, but I'm glad people are going back and watching Caveat now.
I gotta watch it. Haven't seen it. I will be watching Caveat probably this weekend then, so I can be one of the cool kids too. But let's talk about this week's Why We Love Horror Challenge. Due to the limited nature of StreamYard's banners, the two vertical lines in the last 5, characters there. First one's a lowercase L. Second one's a capital I. Not going to go through the whole spiel. We're on week 30 of 52. Watch a horror anthology, and I thought I had seen every horror anthology, but I'm going to go last. Aaron, what horror anthology did you watch this week?
Yeah, so I believe that I have watched Mario Bava before. I at least mentioned that I started wanting to watch him more. And I went with Black Sabbath, his 3-part anthology. And yeah, this was a great time. Boris Karloff is like the narrator for the movies, and the kind of the connecting wraparound stories about him. The Drop of Water was my favorite one. There's some really iconic horror imagery in here, and yeah, I love Mario Bava. So far, everything I've seen is 4 or better.
All right, Abby.
I watched a movie that I don't think is that well known. It's called, and I found it on Shudder a little bit ago. But it's called The Strange World of Coffin Joe. Coffin Joe, I guess, has a couple of other movies, but this is an anthology. There's 3 different stories in this one, each increasing in grossness, I guess. It could have also been watched for the extreme week, honestly. This movie was from the 60s, which I found interesting because I haven't really watched any extreme gross movies from the 60s or really before the 1970s. So I thought that was interesting, and I didn't hate this movie. I thought it was really fascinating actually to watch. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd recommend it to everybody, but it was interesting.
Cool. I had never even heard of it, but so I'll check that out. I watched a movie I'd heard of, but I never really watched it just because like it was always pitched to me like a second-rate horror anthology. It's 1987's From a Whisper to a Scream, and wouldn't you know it? It is a second-rate horror anthology. It is when you're watching, you're like, wow, this is not Creepshow. This is absolutely not Creepshow. Is it Creepshow 3? No. But it's not Creepshow 1 or 2 either. And it's cool because there's like Vincent Price is in it, Clu Gulager's in it, Terry Kaiser's in it, a lot of like recognizable people. But it just felt like it was trying to be Creepshow and like not trying hard enough for me to respect the attempt. But if you're a completionist, it's not a bad movie either. It's just absolutely 1000% not Creepshow. It's my big criticism of it. All right, that'll do it for this week. If you made it this far in the video, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Go to the Facebook group, Why We Love Horror. Go to the TikTok at WWL And next week, actually, I'll just let the cat out of the bag. We're going to see Cuckoo early. So we were going to maybe do that Kit Harington Beast Within movie, but we're not going to do that. That'll be a special edition. So we're going to relegate the special movie to the special edition, and we will be bringing you Cuckoo next week before it's released in theaters. And schedule's the same. Mondays versus we watch a bad movie. Wednesday's a special edition of either this show or Why We Love Horror Trivia. Thursday is this show. You're watching it. And Horror Headlines happens live later. And then Friday, Why We Love Horror Trivia every week. Until next time, I'm John Maher, Abby Brooks, Aaron Brooks, and we appreciate you stopping by. So cool of you to do that.